Good morning, welcome to Furry and Spoilt. Today I'm going to talk to you about signs that your dog is nervous. This is a subject so close to my heart at the moment. Humps, the darker dog at the back, he is a rescue dog from the Korean meat trade. I've had him for 9 months and he was a breeding dog, so he lived his whole life out there. And it was just absolutely horrific, and understandably he is very nervous about some things and he gets anxious. Completely understandable, you wouldn't expect it to be any other way with him. And so I already knew how to read an anxious dog, but I've just fine-tuned it. I've really fine-tuned it. I've been researching it, really making sure that I'm completely communicating with him the way that he needs me to. So in this video I am just going to go through the list of things that I look out for to tell me if he is nervous. So, eyes. If a dog's eyes are big and round, that means he's nervous. If a dog's eyes are like almond shape and soft, that means he's okay. If a dog is just got big eyes and he's not blinking, then that's what a nervous dog will do. If he's blinking at you slowly, then that means he's okay. And when you're looking at a dog, don't ever look just straight at a dog, and certainly don't look at them with big eyes. Look at them and be blinking. Slowly blink at a dog. Very slowly blink at a dog, and then turn your head away. So just look at, sometimes what I'll do with him is, whether he's anxious or not, I'll look at him, I'll just do one very slow blink and then I'll look away. So if your dog has big eyes and there's no blinking, you can tell that he is worried. Tongue flicking. So if a dog is anxious, he will flick his tongue really fast and it will reach up right up to his nose, and it happens very quickly. It's very quick indeed. So it goes right up past his nose and it's very quick, and they do that because it's a way for them to calm themselves down. Point of balance, and this is when a dog is standing or sitting or even lying, which direction is the weight of his body. So if he's sitting and you can see that the weight of his body is back, that's a sign that he's unsure. Not necessarily nervous, but he's unsure about a situation. If he's leaning forward, then that's what a dog does if he's happy and he wants to go forward into the situation. Sometimes you'll see that if you go to stroke an anxious dog, he will move his body weight away from you. That's a very clear sign that he's uncomfortable and you need to stop stroking him. He's uncomfortable. So in that situation, I would just take my hands away and I would get up and I would move away. Look at the fun my three have been having, destroying toys. I got them a load of new toys this morning and look, they've all been de-stuffed. Now they're all sleeping because they've all worn themselves out after de-stuffing their toys. Right, the next thing is, when you go in to stroke a dog, no dog likes if you go in straight and stroke the top of their head. Even if you know the dog really well, he isn't an anxious dog and he seems fine with it. It's very unpleasant for a dog if you go in and you just straight away go to stroke the top of their head. So I always, no matter, even with my own boys, I go in from the side and I don't stroke. If you've got an anxious dog, don't go in and stroke from the side. It's much better if you go in and just use like the back of your hand and just gently massage him. They find that not quite as scary as being stroked. And always go into the side. So to go straight onto a dog's head is really not very nice for them, and any dog isn't going to like that. But most dogs, if they're friendly and happy and confident, they'll love to have a stroke, but from the side. But if they're uncomfortable and they're nervous, then just go in with your back of your hand and just do a very little bit of like just a massaging action with the back of your hand rather than stroking. But always to the side, never to the top of the head. If a dog turns his head away from you, that is a very clear sign that he's not happy. And that could be halfway through you're stroking him. If he suddenly turns his head away, that's a sign that he's not okay. I mean, it could be that he's just looking at something in the other direction. You're going to have to read the situation with that. But if you're stroking him and then he just turns his head away, that can be a sign that he's uncomfortable with the situation. A dog that is anxious and nervous won't eat. Their body is made to physically not be able to eat. Again, very similar to us. If we're anxious and nervous about stuff, our body does not prioritise us eating. It prioritises keeping us safe. It's exactly the same with dogs. So if you have got a dog that, and I use this one all the time, if I am dealing with a dog and they're worried about people, they're not happy about people, they're anxious. I always have really good smelly treats on me, and I'll throw a treat to them. I don't ever ask the dog to come to me. They can do that in their own time, but I'll throw the treat to the dog. And I've did it the other day actually. We were out, and there was this dog, and she was really scared, and it was horrible to watch. And I threw a treat for her, and you could see instantly, and everything changed in her. Like she was like, "Oh, you're not going to hurt me," and so yeah, that's something to really be aware of. That if you've got a dog that's sort of really nervous, if you can give them a treat and they do want to take the treat, then it's a really good sign, because it means that they are slipping into a more, they're coming out of fight or flight. So when they're in fight or flight, they won't eat. But if you give them a treat and they eat it, it means they're coming out of fight or flight. But if you're not sure if your dog's anxious or not, and you give him a treat and he won't eat it, you know your dog is anxious. Yawning is a sign that a dog is anxious. They do it to release as much tension as they can, but also they do it because, remember, all of these signs that I'm showing you, yeah, sure, they are for our benefit, for us to understand and to read, but they're ultimately for other dogs, and other dogs do understand them. Dogs speak dog very, very well, and all these tiny little subtle signs other dogs read incredibly well. And so yawning is a way for them to let other dogs know that they're actually not okay with this situation. So supposing you've got a dog and then there's another dog off the lead and they come running up to your dog fast, yawning is a way for your dog to let the other dog know that he's not happy with this situation, and can the other dog please go away. And then the yawning also releases some tension. But of course, remember, dogs do yawn just because they're tired. So it's context. If you're in a situation with a dog, I actually saw Harry, the one on the sofa, I actually saw him do this yesterday. We were walking, and dogs meeting other dogs on leads is a really horrible thing for a dog to experience. Most dogs do not like it, unless they know the dog and it's been proven over and over again that dog's friendly. Most dogs do not like to meet other dogs on leads. And so I don't. I never, ever, if I see a dog coming, I'll turn around and go in the other direction. I'll go at a distance. Might let them see each other at a distance, but I do not just take my dog up to other dogs to meet on leads. It's not nice. Anyway, there's this dog. We see him most mornings, and he's fine, but he's a very happy dog, very friendly, but he's very bouncy and he's big. And my dogs aren't that keen on him because of that reason. So I don't, we stay from a distance, have a little quick chat with the owner, but I don't make the dogs go right up to each other. And I saw yesterday that as we had got to them, like I said, we weren't close to them, but are close enough for me to talk to the owner. Harry suddenly just started sniffing the floor really, really intently sniffing the floor. And then the second the dog went, he stopped it. And that is a very clear sign that a dog isn't okay. If a dog suddenly just starts intently sniffing something, it's a real clear sign that they're not happy with the situation and they don't want to be there. And I thought it's very much the same as us. If we're in a situation that makes us really uncomfortable, I've done it myself. I've been in situations that just made me very uncomfortable and I'm not happy to be there. And I might just suddenly start, pretending that there's something on my my arm or something that I just need to rub off. Or I understand that completely. I think it's something that we do as humans. So that's another thing. Dogs' ears are a really good way to tell how they're feeling about things. And this again really comes down to knowing your dog, because dogs' ears are all different breeds. All their ears are going to be different. And I know with my dogs how different ear structures mean. But one that is really quite universal, if a dog's ears they pin their ears back and close to their head, that's a sign that they're nervous, and that's quite an extreme one, that they're really nervous and they're really, really not happy. If a dog puts his tail between his legs, I think that's quite one that most people would recognise. A tail between their legs is just an absolute, I'm scared, I'm nervous. It doesn't really ever mean anything else. And so I think that's something that we would all recognise. So a tail is such an indicator. Like if a tail is really high up, sticking really high up and straight, that's an indicator of aggression. But if it's between the legs, that's a real clear indicator that he's not okay. But I'm actually recording humps, but I'm not looking at my camera. I'm not looking at my camera, and I'm not looking at him, because that's, like I just talked about. So now and again, I'm just going to look at him, and I'm just going to blink slowly, and he's just blinking back because he's a special boy, aren't you, darling? Yeah, you are. But remember, tail between the legs, very nervous dog. Going low down to the ground. If they go low to the ground and they've got the tail between their legs and the ears can be pinned back, such a sign that they are really, really scared. But they could just go low to the ground and not have the ears pinned back and not have the tail between their legs. And if they do that, it's just a sign that they're not comfortable with this situation. They're quite scared. But if you see a dog go low to the ground, tail between his legs, ears pinned back, big eyes, then you know he is very uncomfortable with that situation, and you need to back off. But if you can, get the dog out of the situation. So as I said, Humps here, it is a case in point, because he's come from Korea, very, very nervous, and he actually, when he first came, he was being very aggressive to people and biting people. Thankfully, he's never bitten me, so the trust is there. It's great. So I'm just going to go through the things that I do to make sure that if I ever notice that he's nervous, to make sure that he's okay, and that he understands that I understand that he's nervous. So if I'm stroking, because he loves a cuddle, he absolutely loves a cuddle, and I will give him breaks. So if I'm cuddling him, I'll do a few strokes or whatever, I do a lot of massaging with him. I will give him breaks. So I will take both of my hands off him, and I'll lean back. And more often than not, he pushes back into me, like really pushes back into me, because he knows that I'm asking him, do you want me to stop? So by me putting both my hands up and then pulling back, he knows that by pushing into me, he's saying, no, 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 carry on. So that's something that I do. Like I said earlier, I go in with my knuckles a lot, not deep, but just the back of my hand, gently massaging him. I do stroke him, but if it's like, say, my first point of contact with him, maybe in the morning, I go in with my knuckles slowly and then do the back of my hand. Things like, I have never, like, so you've seen my videos, dogs all over my sofas. You see how we live. I've never put him in a situation that was too intense, because that wouldn't be nice for him. So as an example, so say it's the weekend, me and my husband are on the sofa, the other two dogs are on the sofa, and then I never have asked Humps to come up on the sofa, because I think it's too intense for him. Apart from, you've got the whole pack hierarchy thing, and he might, how he might interpret that. But I just think it's a lot. We are a family, and he's been with us 9 months, and he absolutely is part of this family. No question about that. But I think that's a very intense situation to put him in. So I've never asked him to come and get on the sofa with us. So you see where he's lying now. I'm not looking at him, but you can see where he's lying now. That's his bed, and only he is allowed to lie on that bit. And he sleeps, he comes up on there. And then what he'll do is, every now and again, like, we'll all be watching television, and he'll slowly climb up onto the sofa and then snuggle into one of us and have a lovely cuddle. So be aware that you don't ask too much of them. And even though, you could be doing it because you just want him to come up on the sofa and have a cuddle with you, and that's a lovely, lovely thing, and you're doing it from an absolute lovely place, for him, that's quite an intense situation. So I've never asked him to come up on the sofa, and he's just in his own sweet time. And it did take a few months, but in his own sweet time, he climbs up on there and he has a cuddle with us. And then the last thing, but by far the most important thing whenever dealing with any dogs, is your energy. So I make sure that, my energy is in, I talk about it a lot, and I like to make sure that I've got a calm, confident energy. I don't do anything with Humps that I'm not confident doing. So let me just give you an example on this. We groom our own boys, but my husband is the one who does the, with the not the razors, what's it called? The trimmers, the trimmers where you trim their fur. So I don't have confidence in doing that, because that isn't the one thing I do. I do a lot of the grooming, but that isn't the thing I do. My husband does it. He's incredibly confident in it. incredibly calm, and he's very, very good at it, and the dogs have no problems at all doing it. But he's a man, and Humps has big problems with men. He's fine with my husband. He loves my husband dearly. But my husband has been bitten by him, and Humps does not trust my husband as much as he trusts me. And basically just because he's a man, as you completely understand with him completely. So there is no way that Rob does any of the grooming with Humps. I do all of Hump's grooming. I do everything. And that's all fine because he isn't a dog that has to be, his coat just, it's a double coated. I brush him every morning and that's doing him very well. However, he's got a little bit of something sticky on his side and I can't get it out with just washing it. He'll let me wipe it with wet wipes. He's letting me brush it and all of that. But really, where it's on the fur, it really does need to be cut out. And I've been working with him really, really slowly with using scissors to cut the fur around his feet. And it's been incredibly slow because he was very scared. But we're getting there, and snip by snip by snip, there's a little bit of fur coming off. You know the fur that grows between their pads? It's that fur I'm hitting, and it is longer than it should be. But little bit by little bit by little bit, I'm getting there. But he is nervous of scissors, and because of where this patch is, where he's got the sticky bit on him, I think using the scissors would be a mistake. I think I could set myself back. And, my husband said to me this morning, why don't you just use the clippers and you could just clip it off really quickly and then it would be done. But the reason that I'm not doing that is because I'm not confident with those clippers, and it would show in my energy and he would pick it up, and that would be no good at all. So I only do things with him, which luckily is everything apart from the clippers. I only do things with him that I'm really confident in doing. I'm very confident around dogs. I spend so much more time with dogs than I do people. And I've always been around dogs, and I'm very confident around dogs. And he knows that, and he knows that's why anything I go to do to him, he hasn't got to worry about it because I'm very confident about it. And it's really important. So I'm not going to do the clippers with him because I'm not confident with the trimmers on dogs. I'm not confident on it at all. And so I'm not going to do it because I know I'm not confident, and I know that he would know. So I've got another plan of how I'm going to get that sticky thing out of him. But but my point is that don't do anything with the dog unless you are confident in doing it, because the dog will know and you'll make the dog nervous. And if you think about that, think about if you had a dentist and he seemed all nervous, there is no way you're going to let him near your mouth. And it will be the same with a dog. If you're nervous about doing something, he's not going to want you near him. And so it's really important that you keep your energy calm, confident, capable, all the time when you're dealing with a nervous dog, so that he believes you could keep him safe. So that's it. That is my list of things. It's, it's a complicated thing, dog language, but if you can just learn to read it a little bit more, then you will help your relationship with your dog. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.